Sledgehammer Games continues their teasing of this year's Call of Duty with a new tweet from their official account posting a most mysterious GIF accompanied by the most cryptic message. This time around, their tease seems to be far removed from the one we reported on last week. The tweet includes a GIF of moving gears that cause dials with numbers on them to ultimately stop at 2017, which is fair given that it's a New Year's tweet and is accompanied by the message, "Some call it the Zodiac Year of the Hammer." In the Zodiac calendar, 2017 is actually the Year of the Rooster. Interestingly enough, that corresponds with 1945, which was also a Year of the Rooster, and which is when World War II is supposed to have ended. Given this tease then, as well as the gif of almost steampunk machinery, is it possible that Sledgehammer are hinting at World War II as the setting for their new game? Stranger things have happened. Retailer leaks are getting more and more accurate these days. Release dates, platforms, and sometimes the existence of entire products have been leaked prematurely, thanks to trigger-happy retailers being in all too much of a rush to update the product in question's store page online. That appears to have happened with Rockstar's upcoming Red Dead Redemption 2, and from the most unlikeliest of places, it looks like an apparel and clothing store in the UK have gone ahead and leaked the possible release date for the game on their website. We know, we had the same reaction too. It sounds like the release date leaked is October 2nd, so if it holds true that October 2nd, give or take a couple of days on each side, might be when the world will be playing the long-awaited Red Dead Redemption 2. Of course, even if it holds true, that might not pan out because Rockstar is notorious for game delays, so there is that as well. There's been so much speculation and news flying around all over the place when it comes to Project Scorpio that at some point, you're not sure what you should believe and what you should be skeptical of. So it's always nice when some official sources decide to oblige us with comments that can nudge us in the right direction. This happened recently on NeoGAF when 343 Industries' Frank O'Connor of Halo 5 fame posted in a thread dedicated to the discussion of the Scorpio possibly using AMD's Vega architecture by suggesting that the picture that had given rise to the speculation in the first place may have been taken out of context, and that AMD may just have been showcasing their offerings, which include the upcoming Scorpio and the upcoming Vega, and the two just happen to be side by side. Now that said, he did share a few words on what he personally thinks of the Scorpio 2. Although I probably know in that I might have seen it in a slide or something, it's literally not something I have time to think about now, and I actually couldn't remember whatever specs I've been exposed to even if I was tortured. I literally couldn't leak or answer a question that went beyond, can I do this, does it support that, how many of these could it render? What I do remember is that it's beefier than I expected. So hey, it might not necessarily be using Vega, but it will still be a powerful console. I don't think you can ask for anything more at this point, because otherwise you might as well just buy a PC. Resident Evil 7 marks an important point for Capcom's survival horror franchise. It will be the first mainline game of the series that is played from the first-person perspective, presumably injecting a dose of horror back into the proceedings that have gotten increasingly diluted by an action-oriented focus. But one must never underestimate the craftiness of PC gamers. One of them has managed to mod the Resident Evil 7 demo into being entirely playable from the third-person perspective. It's fascinating how well the animations are modeled because the game looks to be eminently playable in the third-person perspective. Well, except for one little hitch. It doesn't look like Ethan, the protagonist, has a head. That looks to be the one thing that Capcom have not designed for the game, so that's certainly alarming. Certainly adds even more horror to the proceedings, that's for sure. Generally speaking, when a high-ranking employee departs from an employer, the employer has multiple provisions in place to protect their interests and ensure that the employee won't encroach on their territory. These provisions include non-compete agreements, which bar the employee from holding a similar position to the one they held with the employer for a certain amount of time, and non-poaching agreements, which prohibit the employee from asking others at the company to quit to come work with them. In the case of Konami and Hideo Kojima, it seems that none of those apply whatsoever. Not only has Kojima quit Konami and started his own studio right away, but it also looks like he's siphoning off some of the best talent from Konami to his own new studio. We already know that he has Yoji Shinkawa, the art director, working with him, along with Kenichiro Imaizumi, the producer, personal assistant Ayako Terashima, and Shinji Hirano, the former president of Konami Europe. But it looks like that's not all either. Apparently, Kojima also has Masaki Saito and Jackie Tan, formerly game designers at Konami, working at his new studio. He's also managed to get Yasuhiro Kawakami, cinematic artist at Konami, working at the new Kojima Productions. Chihoko Uchiyama, who is the senior character designer at Konami, has also been recruited by Kojima. And in what is probably Kojima's biggest coup yet, he has Akio Sakamoto, the man who designed the core of the Fox engine, working with him at Kojima Productions. This is increasingly good news for us as gamers. It ensures that Konami's talent lives on at the new Kojima Productions, even as Konami themselves look content to not utilize that talent or their considerable back catalog. The new Kojima Productions is basically Konami Reborn, and we can't wait to see what they all decide to do in the future. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.